Look at that. We're live. It's official. When it popped up, my screen said you are live. Did it show that on your side?
It did. Yes, it did.
Okay,
yes.
Good. So you're like, okay, we're ready. For those of you as you're joining us, I just want to say, first of all, thank you, AC, for joining us on the live stream and
thanks,
for
man.
speaking
Yes.
at the Huge again this year.
Yes. Always love to. Yes.
It's great to see you. How many Huge conventions have you been to? I feel like it's all of them, but I don't know.
Well, it's not all of them. I think it's all but 3. And so I would have to count back all the years. Of course, we didn't get to pull one off in 2020. So there's 4 right now with, with this one coming up would be 5. And then before then, I think it was 3 or 4. So 8 or 9, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Did you go to the very first one? The very first one was in Nashville years ago.
I did not make it to the very first one. I didn't make it to the second one. I think the third one was the very first one that I went to.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the one in National Harbor out there in Maryland, D.C. area.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So going way back, that's the first time I went to a Huge. It was the first industry event I'd ever been to. And I'd been, just
first event ever. Wow.
Ever. 20 years. I'd been cleaning windows basically by myself with a helper. And I was like, conventions are dumb. What a waste of money. And then I plateaued in my business and I said, I got to learn. I can't believe I've spent 20 years thinking I knew everything. And I went and I was floored. I was like, oh my gosh, there are real business people in this industry.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure you had your truck there. And I saw the trade show and I was like, mind blown. And I listened to people teach and I was like, oh my gosh. And I never missed another one. I was like, this is it. This is it. So for anybody that doesn't already know, because when I published the live stream and stuff, I'm like, come and listen, join me with AC because you're an OG. You've been at this for 35 years since 92.
I think right now it's 34, coming up on 35.
Okay.
My first month in business was October of 1991.
Okay. That's been a minute. That's good. Have you learned anything along the way, or is it the same?
I've learned what not to do for sure.
Yeah. So I'm just going to give a quick rundown for anybody that watches this and they're like, I don't know who AC is. Like, here's a quick bullet point. You started Mallard Systems. That was an early company. I don't know if it was the first brand name, but you built that up to about 4.5, almost 5 million.
Correct.
And, in the early days, then you started Softwash Systems. You've got Disruptor Marketing. You've got Stingray Reels, Bright and Blue Pool Company. I think there's another one I missed. You also published a book year before last. So you're in 9 countries, or is it more now?
So it shifts from time to time. We're in 8 countries right now and 2 territories. And it's Disruptor Manufacturing, and I divested myself of the pool company. Too many irons in the fire. Okay,
well that's like the foreshadow of one of the questions I was going to ask. Like, how do you balance all this?
Oh man, that has been a huge topic for me lately. Yeah.
Well, and your lovely wife Karen, she works with you in the business, correct?
She has not for a year. We did finally retire her. Okay. She's really focusing on being Mimi right now. So we have a grandbaby, and the grandbaby comes to Mimi daycare every day. And I'll tell you one thing about grandkids. And do you have any yet?
We do. We have a new grandchild. She's like 9 months old.
9 months old. Ours is 7 months old. If you ever want to completely neutralize a competitor to where they don't care anymore and all they want to do is sit around the house and play with their grandchild, that's what you do. Give them a grandchild and your competitor will be completely neutralized. Because I just don't want to work as hard as I did a year ago. It's amazing. It's crazy.
That's funny. That's good. But I understand what you mean. Because when babies are little, they don't do anything, but I could sit and watch them for an hour. There's my baby. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. 9 months is a great time to, both of my sisters, my parents adopted them when I was a teenager because we were doing foster parenting. So we would did work for a company called Christian Family Services, and when a mother that didn't have the ability to take care of their baby would have the baby and already knew they were going to place it for adoption, we'd get these brand new babies every few months. They were a day or two old.
Wow.
And we would take care of them for the first 3 months of their lives until they set them up with their forever family and stuff. Yeah. And so we get a baby every 3 months, Well, we decided to keep a couple of them. And, babies are wonderful. And, that 6 months to a year, there's so many benchmarks and everything. But I mean, hey, we're talking about the huge convention, not babies, but
I know.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this phase in life is wonderful.
Well, so here's how it ties together for me is that we build a business because, like, when we started our business, it was because I wanted to support my family and have a certain lifestyle. And that was the reason why. And it wasn't because I didn't want to be a billionaire, like millionaires on my radar. We got there. That's great. But the goal was to support a family. And I chose to start my own because I didn't want to miss a Little League game. I didn't want a boss tell me you can't go.
Absolutely.
And that was the reward.
That's why we want to be entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. So quick question was is it Softwash Systems that ended up with licensees and in all the different countries, like 220 or 200 plus affiliates, or I don't know the structure of your business, how that works, but
yeah. So for a while we were a brand that we had a really, really close clientele that we really supported and helped get into the business. And then that became kind of like Mary Kay for men. They could put the sticker on the truck. And then that became a licensing program. And now we describe ourselves as an unfranchise, where we really give people all of the things that they would get from a franchise, just without having to be a franchise. And so now we're putting together a call center. We've got a nationalized CRM. We do national advertising. Somebody can jump into the business with us, and all they have to do is my theology has been to kill it, grill it, and put it on the table. Go out and sell the job, run the lead, get the production done, and collect the money. Okay. Yeah. And so it's sell it, get the work done, put the money in the bank. and then we come in now and do everything else. They don't have to do their books anymore. They don't have to advertise anymore. We have them do popcorn marketing to help replicate the marketing we do for them. But yeah, they don't have to order their chemicals anymore. I mean, we're doing such a holistic approach that it just makes it easy for people that are very entrepreneurial, but they don't want to create business systems or training videos or any of that kind of stuff. They can literally just wrap us in around them and just literally wake up every morning, look at their phone and go, oh, those are my appointments today, and go out and run those leads, sell those jobs, get the production done, collect the money, and not have to touch anything else.
That is cool. I actually did not know that. I mean, that's brilliant to have the full back end handled, because how many guys get into business because they're a great technician and they're like, I'm going to do my own. And then they don't know how to market, sell, keep books. God forbid they ever get audited, they're going to die.
Yeah.
That just to have it handled. And, one of the silliest things that I ever taught when I taught at the Huge was simply answer your phone.
Right.
It's like you're losing business because you don't answer the phone.
Answer the phone, show up, do what you said you're going to do. Poof, you'll be a millionaire. It's the formula,
Yeah. Yeah, but to have that taken off of the person's plate so they can focus. I mean, not have to build out don't reinvent the wheel. God, I love that.
Right.
That's really cool. Yeah. What was it? How did you get your first international affiliate?
It's all because of the internet. We because we have a huge internet presence. The social media presence is gigantic, and it's because I sleep with this thing. I mean, every time I sit, I'm so addicted to this, it's unbelievable. And so we had somebody contact us from the UK that wanted to introduce Softwash Systems to the UK and sell our products and everything else. And I said, well, that's great. It sounds wonderful, but you have to come over here to the States. You have to visit us. I have to like you because I will not do business with people that I won't do life with. If I can't envision myself vacationing with you, we're just not doing business.
Yeah.
And then I said, and then you have to buy $250,000 worth of product. And they went, okay. I went, I should have said 400,000.
Yeah, exactly.
And poof, we were in the UK, and we're, getting licensed affiliates in the UK, and we're doing Discover Softwashes in the UK and everything.
Yeah.
And then somebody over in the Netherlands is watching all this go on. They call me on the phone and they say, hey, listen, I really think this would work out great in the Netherlands. I said, that's fine, but you have to travel to the United States. You have to come and meet. You have to do the tour. You have to come to a Discover Softwash here. And we got to go out and eat dinner and break bread. And I got to decide if I like you because, and the guy's like, no, you don't understand. I got a $250,000 check I'm going to write you right now. Let's just send me some stuff. I went, no, I won't sell anybody anything if I don't like them. Even now with Softwash Systems, every single person that joins Softwash Systems has to go through a final interview with me. And if I don't like them, it doesn't matter if they're ready to strike $100,000 check. I'm sorry. I have to envision myself as you being part of my family and us doing vacations together, going scalloping or fishing or golfing. I want to do life with everybody I do business with. Yeah. And I'm kind of a weirdo when it comes to that. And poof, then we had somebody in the Netherlands, and we're doing licensed affiliates in the Netherlands. And now we've got a guy in Portugal, and poof, now we're doing this in Portugal. And, we're in Czechia now and Croatia. And, we're starting to spread into Eastern Europe and we're getting a good foothold in Western Europe. And it's kind of crazy. And, Sid, I can't say that I woke up one day and said, this is my plan to expand worldwide.
Yeah.
None of this has happened that way. This has been every day you wake up, you look at the opportunities that come to you, you look at the blessings that God gives you, and then you assess what chess moves you can make that day, and you make those chess moves. You go to bed that night, you wake up the next morning, and you just honor the opportunity and move the chess pieces little by little forward every day. There has been zero master plan to this entire thing.
All right. I've got so many questions. I love that phrase. I was writing it down. Honor the opportunity.
Yes.
The opportunity. That is so ripe. Every year when we do the huge, from the main stage, we'll always ask who's traveled the furthest, and we're expecting to get some from California or Alaska. Right. The last 3 years, I believe there's been somebody from the Netherlands. Mm-hmm. Are they your guys?
I'm not sure if I've had any of my guys, but one guy that is coming this year is actually from Norway. Okay. His name's Fred Thorkelson. And so Fred is not officially a Softwash Systems guy, but Fred and I we know each other and talk to each other, and I've had some influence over him. And so he's doing super up there in Norway. But I think you'll get somebody even further than that. We've had people at the huge convention the year that we were in New Orleans. I'm trying to remember their names. I'm horrible with names. This wonderful couple from Australia, and that's a long plane ride. That's 36 hours there.
That's a long ways. So here's something I really admire that. We have a philosophy with some of our business partners, there's nothing more fun than making money with friends. But when you've got somebody that's not a friend, that's in, you can get partners that are capable and stuff. But if, with you, if I can't have a beer with them, I don't want to do business with them. But most people don't have the courage to say no, especially if somebody's got a big check in hand. Look, let me just pay.
It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you got to pay the mortgage and stuff. You have to decide, am I going to go through the pain of maybe missing my mortgage, or am I going to sell out just for money? And when you sell out just for money, I've had people accuse me of a lot of stuff in my lifetime. People say, oh, he's all about the money. Man, if you know me, it is not about the money. It's not about the money. I could make a crap ton more money in other industries, and I could sell everything I have right now and completely check out. And it's not what drives you. It's being involved in people's lives and helping people get to that next life station and achieve their life's goals and dreams and all. That's what excites me and feeds me and keeps me going on and doing this every day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. So I've known you for a few years, but I actually went. Are you getting feedback? Or is there echo, or does it sound good?
No, on my side, it sounds good. Yes.
Okay, great. So I use my new buddy ChatGPT to do some deep research. I'm like, I need to let me get some more background. The summary that came back, aside from here are business accolades and here are the companies that you own or have owned, it summarizes like AC is all about business, family, and faith.
Right.
I was like, that's really cool that we brought it down that close. And as a Christian business owner, what sort of how does your faith inform your strategy or just inform the way that you run your business practices?
Well, I like to be the Christian that people don't expect, because I really don't like walking around telling people, hey, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. Right. I don't put doves in my logos. I don't put fish. I mean, to me, it's so grotesque and nauseating when people use their faith as a way to get people to do business with them, as a gimmick. And I'm not that type of person. Where it guides me is the way I treat people. If people buy something from me and they're not happy with it, I'll refund their money. If they haven't destroyed it in the meantime, I had a situation here recently, and of course I'm never going to share names, but I'll share this situation. We had one of our licensed affiliates had gone out, had grown a little too quick, and they got a second truck probably too quick, and their business wasn't growing, and they'd gone through a little bit of a slump, and they were in a situation where the house that they were living in, that they were renting, the person who owned it had died, and their kids were willing to sell them the house, but if they didn't buy the house, they needed them to move out. They were getting ready to lose their home and be homeless. And so they called me on the phone, and they've been trying to sell their skid on the open market. And they were like, would you just buy it? I mean, can we put it on consignment with you or something? And I said, something, let me just go ahead and how much money do you need to close on the house? And they're like, we need $10,000. I said, great. I'm going to send you $10,000. You get the skid down to me. And then when I sell the skid, I'm going to give you the rest of the money. I won't keep my consignment fee. Okay. No. Because they needed it. And so what actually ended up happening, okay, is it took a couple months for that skid to sell. And so they got their money on that. I wish it would have took one more month, because they got busy again, and it would have been so nice just to hand them their skid back. But somebody ended up buying the skid, and so they were able to get their money. But hopefully they'll grow and they'll be able to buy another skid. But at the very end of the day, where your faith interacts with your business is the type of decisions you make, the type of people that you'll do business with, whether you lie to people or not, whether you cheat people or not, whether you can take your resources. And if you're just a little wealthier than they are at the moment, can you take care of people? That was a little story I'll tell you. There are much bigger stories that I would not tell you of how my faith has guided my business, because as Christians, we believe that our reward is in heaven. And if you brag about the things that you do and how you help people, well, then you get rewarded on earth for that, and accolades and adoration and all that kind of stuff. And then you don't get rewarded in heaven. And so there are so many things that I've been able to do myself, or my family's been able to do, or my organization's been able to do for people, that are so much bigger than the one example I gave you, that we will simply not talk about it, because I'd much rather store that up as part of my reward in heaven. And that's what it means being a Christian and exercising your faith in business.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's really cool. Is there anything that, excuse me, that Mallard Softwash Systems does regularly, like in the community? Like, is there a organization or a cause that you and the people support?
Yeah, so I've got this on my desk here. This is a football, and it's if you look at it, it's got the ESPN logo on it. It's probably backwards because of the camera.
It's showing well. Yeah.
Yep. And so if you look at the logo that's right here, let me turn it right side up there. It's right in the middle. That is the Cure Bowl logo.
Yeah.
And so a friend of mine, his name's Coach Alan Gooch, actually had a dream. And his dream was to have a BCS college football bowl game in Orlando, Florida, where all of the proceeds from the game, okay, not a percentage, 100% of the proceeds from the game would go to breast cancer research. And that's why the color on this is pink. And so back when he had that dream, I was part of a group called Dream Builders, and we help each other achieve their dreams. Well, it was kind of a outside dream that probably wasn't likely to happen because we already had 2 BCS bowl games in Orlando, Florida. The likelihood of having a third, there is nowhere in the United States do they have 3 BCS bowl games except for in Orlando, Florida. And the Cure Bowl is the only BCS bowl game where 100% of their proceeds go to a cause. And to date, because of our relationship with the Cure Bowl, and you'll notice when you see somebody from Softwash Systems, where they have a sublimated shirt or an embroidered shirt or even on their trucks, you'll see that logo right there, that Cure Bowl logo on their trucks. To date, we have raised for breast cancer research over $320,000.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
And so we're a sponsor of the Cure Bowl, and we go to the games every year, and we have our logos are everywhere and everything. And it's the only way that we've been able to do this is because Coach Alan Gooch and I are friends, and we are part of Dream Builders together. You can't buy your way in to the Cure Bowl now unless you're a big corporate type entity. And so because we were in at the ground floor and we've kept that going every year, we get to say that we sponsor a BCS college football bowl game. And it is every year, it is the very first bowl game of the year, and it is televised by ESPN.
That is sweet.
Yeah. So it's very, very cool, but that's just an example of one of the things that we do in the community.
Okay. Hey, I'm going to segue just a second and say hi to Barry. You know Barry Little?
I sure do. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Good to see you again, Barry. Barry was joining us a little bit earlier on a different live stream. So nice. We're going to see him at the huge convention as always. He's posting lots of good video, a lot of content that's instructional, that's helping a lot of people.
Yes.
And hold on. There was something else I want to, since you've, with the number of affiliates and with just how long you've been in the industry and how well networked you are, most people, business owners, they see the industry from their business.
Right.
So it's like, however it's affecting them must be how everything is going. What do you see on a broader scale, the industry at large, or at least in the Southwest U.S. or Softwash in general? Like, how are people doing this year? Are we up? Are we down? Is the economy and the scare of tariff causing problems, or is people?
It's a mixed bag. We got 2 affiliates in California that are 30 minutes away from each other. And one is having their best year ever in business. They'll probably finish at about $1.2 million, $1.3 million this year. Mm-hmm. And the other one is going to not have their best year ever in business. It's probably going to be their second or third best year ever in business. But they're actually down. They'll probably finish down about $150,000 because we're at halftime right now. We literally had a meeting with a lot of our licensed affiliates today. And it was, hey, tell us your numbers. What is your 6-month number? And if you multiply that by 2, that ought to be where you land. And these guys are a half an hour away, and one is going to be down $150,000, and then the other is going to be up $500,000. And they're virtually in the same market. And so you go, wow, how does that happen? In general, it is very, very clear now that we're several years out that during COVID, of course, home services got very, very busy. Mm-hmm. And it is very identifiable now that 2021 and 2022 and the first half of 2023 is what a lot of people call even the last half of 2020, but basically mid 2020 through mid 2023 is what they have started calling now the home service bubble. And the bubble for a lot of people burst in later 2023 because we got 12 months out from the presidential election. And presidential election years are always tough on businesses, especially when you talk about cleaning, because cleaning the exterior of a home or a business isn't like a broken AC unit, isn't like a broken hot water heater, isn't like a leaking pipe in your wall. It's not an urgency thing. Somebody can go 2 or 3 months with a dirty exterior. Somebody can go 2 or 3 months with a dirty roof. Somebody can go, 2 or 3 months with a loading dock that probably needed cleaned 2 or 3 months ago. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we're really, we're a necessity, but we're a necessity that people can put off. Like Tommy Mello, we all know Tommy. He's not like an air conditioner or hot water heater or a broken pipe in a house, but if your garage door is broken and you can't pull your car out, you can't go to work that day. So you got to call somebody. You might be able to use a little, emergency where you pull the cord and you lift the garage door yourself. But how many days are you going to want to do that? Or do you want your wife having to do that every time she takes her car out of the garage? Yeah. And so that's a little more important. But what we've seen is definitely the second half of 2023, business started to slide down some. 2024 was not a great year for most companies. And then 2025 is not the year that many people expected. I know for my companies, January came in after the election and, everything was kind of done. And it's like, okay, may not be the guy we wanted, or it may be the guy we wanted, but, hey, the president's in, let's get back to business as usual. January came in, record numbers. February came in, record numbers. Okay. Donald Trump said tariffs and things went
breaks. Yeah.
And it was like, oh my goodness. So, it's been a tough couple years, but I really think the second half of this year is really going to be good. We're starting to see some economic indicators, phones ringing, people starting to make decisions, money that was on the sideline starting to come back into play. I really think the second half of this year, we're going to start, everybody's going to start pulling out of it, because I know it's been tough. There's always people that do well. There's always people that are having record years. There's always people that are like, well, I don't think the economy is bad. We're having a record year. I'm like, great. You're blessed. But in general, whoo, man, it has been a tough 2 years, even for me. And we're millions of dollars. I've been working harder the last 2 years than I ever have in my entire life.
Wow. With the manufacturing that you guys do, is some of your supply chain do you have to source things from overseas that have been affected by tariffs or
we don't get a lot from overseas. There are some things that you can only get from overseas, like our electric motors for our hose reels. The United States conceded the small 12 volt or DC powered motor market to the Chinese. So we don't even make them here in the United States. Wow. So it kind of sucked when we ordered motors in December, and when they came in March, you got these extra tariffs you have to pay, stuff like that. But it hasn't really affected us a lot. Aluminum's gone up. Luckily we source all of our aluminum from the United States. It's smelted either in Kentucky or Tennessee. Mm-hmm. That's largely because Europe won't buy anything, or they have a 50% tariff if you build something out of Chinese aluminum and then import it into Europe. It's like a 50% tariff. It's ridiculous. Wow. So you do have to be careful about where you source. What has happened is, though, because of the tariffs and all the saber rattling and all the things that happen, is people use it as an excuse to raise their prices a little bit. And so whether it affected them or not, there was a 15 to 20% increase all the way across the board, a little bit of inflation in our suppliers that we saw from all the tariff talk.
Yeah. There's a big distributor of holiday lights that I talked to a month ago, and
it whacked them.
100% of their stuff comes from China. They own the manufacturing in China. Yeah. But they said, they were very clear. They said, we're not raising our prices, but on the invoice, it got, the price was, $50,000. And then there's the tariff surcharge. So it's separate.
Yeah.
When the tariff goes away, they didn't artificially inflate their prices because they're tariffs. They just same plus, and tariffs go away, they reduce it. I thought that was pretty cool.
It's a wise way to do it. Yes.
With so much aluminum smelting in Tennessee, are you going to, like, since the huge is in Tennessee this year, you're going to back a truck up and load it up with aluminum and take it back to Florida?
No, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We luckily we have some really good vendors that stock and hold the aluminum for us, and we've got three that handle us. If one can't handle us at the moment, we just call the next one, and we buy it a pallet at a time, and
Yeah.
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 You got to come see my place. I've got such a cool workshop. It's so much fun. I mean, we can build anything. It's great.
You feel like a mad scientist when you're out there?
Oh yeah, it's unreal.
That's cool. So, tell me a little bit about your booth at the trade show. You're right in the entrance. You got a
Yes.
big layout. What's it going to look like this year?
So we have three booths, and they're for three different businesses. We've got Softwash Systems, Disruptor Manufacturing, and the Wash Life store there. All the booths are 20 by 30, so they're 600 square feet each. So
Yeah.
a little bit bigger than a little bit smaller than a 3-car garage, bigger than a 2-car garage. And so we're bringing in some vehicles. We're bringing in, of course, which is a fan favorite, we're bringing in a disruptor trailer with the fridges in it. And we'll have coffee and sodas and cookies and brownies and giving away hats and T-shirts. We've got, of course, hats and T-shirts at each of the booths. And we've got some really cool stuff we're bringing in with not new, they're about 2 years old now, our Power Stream skids. And so we're literally going to have some extra stuff there for people to put their hands on. Got our new 100-gallon Domino tank. That's our own tank that comes from our molds that we have rotomolded. We have a contract manufacturer that does the rotomolding for us, but they use our molds to do it. And so we're debuting a brand new 100-gallon Domino-style tank at the show. That's a different shape than a lot of the other tanks that are out there. And then we just got a lot of cool stuff that we're bringing. Of course, all the Stingray hose reels, all the new automation stuff where you can turn on and off all your chemicals and see the flashing lights and not have to run back and forth to the truck, and just a lot of cool stuff.
That's very cool. When you say Domino style tanks, is that like the 100-gallon, like you can stack additional?
Yeah, so a big deal thing is like if you put a tank in a truck that's a 200-gallon tank or a 300-gallon tank or a 400-gallon tank or a 500-gallon tank, you have to put baffles in them, because if you hit your brakes with a 500-gallon tank that's only 2/3 full, good luck stopping, especially if it's raining. And you can buy baffles that go in there, but they're kind of expensive. So what we do is these, and a lot of people have done this. I did not invent this. This is common knowledge. Is you take these 100-gallon tanks and they're narrow and tall, so they don't surge. And if you want 300 gallons worth of water, you put 3 tanks together. 400, you put 4 together, and so you chain them together at the bottom so that they self-level when you fill them and everything. But it's a lot safer when you're building a truck or a trailer or a flatbed to do it that way, because you don't get that surging. You get a built-in baffling by them being set up domino style.
Yeah. Okay. Do you, with the amount of, with all the things that you're bringing to the Huge for the trade show for 3 separate businesses, do you load up a semi? Like, how do you haul this all in?
Well, we are going a little more minimalistic than maybe we have in the past. One of the things I like to do is I like to bring vehicles, because you just drive them into the show, and everything's inside the vehicle, so that when you park it in the middle of your booth, you just open up the doors and take everything out. And so that's really my MO. So we're not bringing a ton of stuff. We are going to have a Softwash Systems truck we're bringing. We're going to have the Disruptor trailer, and then we are bringing a Ryder U-Haul type of box truck full of a bunch of goodies, and just different models and displays and everything, so people can see our products and touch and feel them, and really see the quality of our stuff.
Yeah, I would personally love to see the caravan rolling up the highway with the vehicles and the trucks and the trailer, and like,
I always
there goes AC.
I always do the customary, before we go to the huge convention, the lineup of all the vehicles in front of our shop. And I'll take a picture of it and I'll shoot a video of it and I post it on Facebook and say, hey, we're on the way to the huge. And so I always do that post.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. And you're teaching in one of the breakouts again this year. Thank you, by the way. What are you going to be focusing on this year?
Yeah, so this year we're doing a shortened version of a workshop that I do, and so I'm taking a 2.5 to 3 hour workshop and turning it into a 45-minute talk so people can get a taste of it. And it's called Building a Lifestyle Business, the workshop. And I'm going to be really trying to help a lot of these entrepreneurs understand what size business they really need to build to achieve their life's goals and dreams. Because many times people get very impressed with other people and their businesses and what they have going on. And they say, I want to be like that person. I want to be like AC. I want to be a serial entrepreneur. I want to own 4 or 5 different businesses. I want to do this. I want to do that and everything else. And me, I go, no, you don't want to do that. I used to have people all the time when I was doing consulting. They would hire me, and the first thing that would come out of their mouth is they'd say, I want to have a Mallard Systems just like you. And I'd go, oh, hell no, you don't. No, you don't want that. And they're like, why? So incredible. All the trucks match, and pictures with the buildings, and oh my gosh, AC, that's got to be the pinnacle. I'm like, no. Mallard Systems at $4.8 million a year drove me crazy. TerraClean, the company I had after that was purely commercial, did $1.5 million a year, and I fished 150 to 200 days a year. Okay. Yeah, you don't start growing the business. You don't start with the business. You start with the lifestyle. And you sit down and you do a worksheet, describe what you want your life to look like. If you're young, married, and you're getting ready to have kids, what kind of schools you want your kids to go to, what kind of college you want them to go to, what kind of cars you want to drive, how much money do you want to give to your church, all the things. What do you want? A little house? You want a big house? You want a tiny house? You want a mansion? What do you want? What do you want your life to look like? At what age do you want to retire? All of that stuff goes into building that profile. And then you decide how much it's going to cost. Okay. What paycheck you need to get out of your business to afford that life goal and dream, to afford that lifestyle that you want. Okay. Then I give you the mathematical formula that you plug that dollar amount into, and it tells you how big of a business that you need.
That's great. There are 2 really insightful things about that. One is if you go back to one of the best classics on not really personal development, but kind of 7 habits of highly successful people.
Yes.
He says, start with the end in mind. So
right.
Why do we forget to do that? Like people just start and go, I want to do a Mallard System, I want to do a thing, instead of going, define it. Really start with the end in mind and establish your purpose first. That's beautiful. And like Trevor said, next level stuff.
Yeah. I was just ready to say, thank you, Trevor. Thank you. Appreciate it so much. Yeah. I mean, so many people do that. They look at me and say, AC, I need to do $1 million a year. I'm like, no, you don't. Like for instance, with Softwash Systems, you can have one truck, run it out of your house, and have a take home pay of $150,000 a year.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't think this is like anything wrong with a huge convention. It's just I hear so many conversations when we're building and when we're running, and It used to be almost a mantra. It's like, got to have $1 million business, got to have $1 million business. And I'm like, dude, is that really what you want?
Right.
Or because you can run, $1 million business, you can get there with grit and hustle and a handful of employees, but it has a different set of headaches than being, run it by yourself. You got keep it small, keep it all. You got mid-range, you got, big scale, and deciding what is like, have your own dream. Don't try to build somebody else's. So I love your topic.
Yeah. So it'll be fun. It's not as sexy as, hey, come to my class. I'm going to teach you how to sell $1 million, or the 5 secrets to selling more business. It seems like sales classes are more salacious and get more people coming into them. Everybody wants to know how to sell more, or marketing, or things like that. man, if you come to my class, I will save your marriage. I will save your life. I will save your health. I will save your sanity, because you may not need as big of a business as you think, or you may need a bigger business than you
Then
think.
you think.
But I'm going to give you a mathematical equation that you can walk away with and go, this worksheet tells me exactly what I need to do. Now I need to find the people and the resources and everything else to build this, because it's clear now. I need this. It's not ambiguous anymore.
Yeah, that's excellent. Well, with a cheat sheet like that, somebody's going to refer to you as ACGPT instead of Chat GPT. Like, here's the thing, just fill it out, and you're like, ta-da!
Yeah, there it is.
I've got a guidebook. Let's go. Well, what else? Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we wrap it up for the evening? Anything that you got going on, or anything that you're bringing to the huge? Or
man, one of the things I've been watching online. I'm just going to shoot this straight right between the eyes. Okay, I've been watching a lot of the talk and the banter out there, and the people, I'm not going to the huge, and people, I'm going to the huge, and it's the same old stuff, or I don't want to go, or it's been in the Opryland or whatever. Man, just like you, okay? So many people show up to the huge, and you never know when you're going to meet that mentor, or have that conversation, or develop that relationship, or find that vendor, or the resources to open up that lock, the keys to open up that lock that make you successful. You don't go to this show because of the hotel it's in. You don't go to this show because they put some big name speakers on the stage. Okay. You don't go to this show because, well, it's just the same companies in the trade show, or, they put too many light companies in there. It's just turning into a Christmas light show. Okay. Come on, people. Come on. I'm really encouraging you here. You go here to develop lifelong relationships. The Bible says iron sharpens iron. One man sharpens another like iron sharpens iron. You've got to get people in your life that are going to encourage you, breathe life into you, that you can benchmark against, that you can ask questions. And we get some of the most successful people in the exterior cleaning industry come to this event. And if you're not there, you're going to isolate yourself from success. Did you hear me? You're going to isolate yourself from success. You will keep thinking the thoughts you're thinking, and going to the places you're going, and achieving the things that you've been achieving. And you'll stay in your little pool of cycle that you're going through, because each of our wells, okay, that we draw from are only so deep. You need to get into a well that's deeper than your well. I mean, I met Howard Partridge at the first huge convention I went to there in National Harbor.
Yeah.
And he's been my coach now for nearly a decade. Okay. And we're part of his organization, and his organization coaches a large majority of all of our licensed affiliates across the country and all. And that one relationship there led to me meeting Tom Ziegler, led to me being Ziegler Legacy certified, led to me meeting a ton of different people, meeting the publisher that helped me publish my book. Come on, guys. You've got to go to the huge convention, because you never know when you're going to meet that one person that is going to change your life.
Man, if we were in church right now, I would just say amen, because that is so spot on. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
It's so true.
And thank you for bringing that up. I hear people say, well, it's so expensive. And I'm like, really? Is it, because
Really?
it'll cost you $2,000 to get a flight. And thank you, Trevor, by the way. Amen.
Amen.
You got to get your flight, or drive, and you got a hotel, and you got food, and you got the cost of ticket, which is the lowest part of the whole deal. And maybe you spend $2,000 or $3,000, but like the first time I went was the same one. First time I met Howard Partridge, sat next to a guy that was doing 3 times the size of business he was where I wanted to be. And I said, hey, Brian, can I take you to lunch? I got questions. He goes, yeah. He ended up buying me lunch and sharing one little tip with me that made us an extra $25,000 a year the next 2 years, like net.
Wow.
Net.
Yeah.
I'm like, this was the cheapest investment I could have made in my business.
Oh, yeah. And there's so many things that are way more expensive than coming to the Opryland Hotel, which, by the way, is a beautiful hotel. We love coming to Nashville every year.
Yeah.
Okay, it's one of the highlights of our year. I bring my wife with me. We get a nice suite, and we enjoy the week. But we're going to Tommy Mello's thing Labor Day weekend. I think it's the weekend after Labor Day weekend. And those tickets, and we didn't get the highest level ticket. It's $1,000 per person. So I spent $2,000 for my wife and I, plus flying out there, plus the hotel, and plus when you go to Vegas, you spend more money than you should have anyhow, because we love to eat at all the fancy restaurants and all. And so that's expensive-ish. I know I'm going to take away more value at Tommy's event, the home service workshop, or home.
Freedom event.
Yeah, home service freedom event. And then we're going to Carlos's thing, okay, in Cabo. And that's like $3,500 a couple. You know what I'm saying? And plus you still have to fly there and everything, and you're going to buy tchotchkes and gifts and everything else while you're there. Guys, you need to go. First of all, you need to get away from your business once a quarter anyhow.
Yeah.
Okay? You need to do that anyway. And you need to go places that make you uncomfortable and put you in rooms with people that are doing greater things than you are.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for being a part of the journey for all of us, and a stalwart at the Huge. And thanks for being generous with your time tonight and then coming to teach us. It's 6 weeks from today.
Wow.
Yeah. So things are picking up steam. We're definitely we're ahead on registration, and people staying at the hotel. It's shaping up to be the hugest huge so far. So we're good you being such a big part of it.
I'm excited. I know things. This year, you guys have always been. We talk all the time. All the people from your team and I talk all the time, and I know registration has always been, above pace. For that particular month, we're doing good and everything else. But I know the swell now, the second half of the year, people are finally going, I'm kind of doing pretty good. I can make it to the huge convention.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's going to be probably the biggest attendance we've had.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. Well, good. Well, thanks again. Thanks for your time, and keep on fishing, keep on living, keep on building.
You too, man. I appreciate you so much.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. See you later, AC.
All right. See ya.